SpaceX is making moves down at Starbase right now. Starship has been moved off the booster and onto the pad, and now the booster is in the bay getting some sort of repairs for the next flight, IFT-3. We're not exactly sure what these repairs are. Could it be some electronics? Could it be some hardware in there? Could it be some piping, some tubing? We're not exactly sure because we're not SpaceX. So in the next few days, there's nothing happening at Starbase. And let me show you what I mean by that, because there's a few things that we can go by here. One of them is the road closures, right? So like if there's a road closure, we know that SpaceX is doing some sort of transport of either a booster or a ship back to the launch stand. And then there will be a road closure, or at least a very temporary time that SpaceX will be moving the booster, and you have to move your cars over to the side of Highway 4 while they move the booster by. Could you imagine, if you will, 250-foot tall booster right next to you as you're parked on the side of Highway 4? You look up, it's gigantic. It's the biggest thing you've ever seen moving. 250 feet tall. That's 25 stories. That's a huge apartment building anywhere in the world. 25 stories tall. That's a giant building, and they're moving it down the highway at a crawling speed, but they move it about a mile from the launch site to the production site. And it's a fun ride in a car, I'll tell you that. But if you're moving a booster, it's got to be a little bit hectic. So they move it to the production site already. Now, if they're going to move it back, there will be a road closure, and they'll tell people when this is going to happen. So the road closure for February 23rd between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., that's been revoked. So we know that they're not going to be moving the booster anytime soon back to the launch site. Maybe they could get road closures for early next week, but there's also a possibility that they don't do that, and they might need another week to work on the booster. Now, Elon Musk said that sometime in early March, first or second week of March, they're aiming to launch the new Starship, and Starship will be ready for the launch. Now, we're also waiting on the FAA. Now, the FAA still has to provide a launch license to Starship, and for SpaceX to launch this for IFT-3, they have to wait on the FAA. Now, could this booster thing be part of the wait? Yeah, it's going to be part of the wait for a little bit. So just sit back and relax and wait for that booster to get fixed and move back to the bay, or to the launch site. Now, let's do something really cool. Remember the Apollo missions back in the 60s and 70s, about 50 plus years ago, when people landed on the moon? Well, NASA hasn't really had anything back on the moon since then. There's been no real landers that NASA has done, or the United States has done successfully on the moon since then. And we always wonder why. Like, what are you waiting for, NASA? Well, just recently, Intuitive Machines landed a lander on the surface of the moon. Our nearest neighbor, the lunar surface, has been touched by another U.S.-built lander. We call them Odyssey. Odysseus completed its scheduled 408-second main engine lunar orbit insertion burn, is currently in a circular lunar orbit. This is from the other day, by the way. This is from February 21st. So what happens now? What's happening now? Lunar surface day 1 update. They made it. Alive and well. Flight controllers are commanding with the vehicle to download science data, and the lander has good telemetry and solar charging. This is huge news as far as the Artemis program goes, because without landers like this, we're not going to know what the lunar surface is like, because we haven't been there in so long. Now, we continue to learn more about the vehicle's specific information, latitude, longitude, overall health, and attitude, orientation. Like, how did it land? What is it looking at? Where are the cameras pointed? Also, with this data from the science data coming up, are we going to get photos and videos from the moon? Of course, we're going to get photos if we can. If all of the systems are in place, we will be getting photos from the lunar surface in probably the next few days. And NASA and Intuitive Machines actually have a press conference coming up soon. So we'll know more information about what's happening with this lunar lander in the next few days. So Steve Altemus participated in a press conference later today to discuss this historic moment. Press conference information will be coordinated with NASA and published shortly. So it's about 5 o'clock today on NASA's YouTube channel. Check that out. Might be able to stream it here. but not sure. So check out NASA's YouTube channel. They'll have all the information, have the live stream, and it's going to be great news, I'm sure, from the team at Intuitive Machines and from NASA. They're collecting all the data. So that's really cool. Data is important for the Artemis missions, like I said. Now let's move on to ULA. Today, we begin stacking the 100th Atlas V, but this flight will be unlike any of the previous. This rocket will launch NASA's commercial crew. So we know the commercial crew, right? Falcon 9, Crew Dragon. No. That's not the one. This is going to be the Starliner, the Boeing Starliner that's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams on the crew flight test, the CFT. So they started doing this a couple days ago, and now they're in the process of getting this thing ready to fly. It's going to be an amazing journey. It's great to have 2 different crew capsules ready for NASA at any given time. Say if something happens, like God forbid something happens to a Crew Dragon and the astronauts don't have a way back home. Could they launch a ULA or a Starliner up there and get the astronauts out of the space station because a Crew Dragon isn't available? Or, whatever the scenario is, a Starliner can come through and allow the astronauts to return safely to the surface of the Earth. That's amazing. So, I think the overall output here is that ULA and the Starliner, I almost said Crew Dragon, ULA and Starliner are going to launch these astronauts in the foreseeable future. And it's going to be a groundbreaking event because not only do we have one, but we have 2 ways to get people to and from space at any given time. So if SpaceX isn't able to, or if the pad is tied up with like Starlink or something, whatever it is, SpaceX might not be available, but Starlink, it's always good to have a backup, man. It's always good to have a backup for everything. So this is going to be an amazing thing. Now, what are we waiting for with Starship, though? They already did static fires for both the ship and the booster. And they also, they're ready to fly, according to Elon Musk, once they get this thing fixed up. So there's a possibility that we might actually get this thing flying early March. March 1st actually is the Crew 8 flight, which is NASA's crew, which is, of course, we're talking about Crew Dragon earlier. NASA's Crew 8 is going up to space March 1st at 12:04 a.m. So really early in the morning or really late at night, depending on what you say. But I plan on going down there. So if you want to help out, hit the subscribe button or the like button for free. That really helps out. But if you want to really help out, there's a membership button. If you can become a member of the channel, you'll contribute to this channel every single month, and I'll be able to do more launches every single time that there's a big launch. So if a Starship is launching, if a Crew Dragon is launching, something like that, or the SLS or anything like that, please help us out. And we have a Patreon. We also have memberships on YouTube. Super thanks, super stickers, all that stuff helps too. So this is my way of trying to generate money so I can do these trips every single month. So I can bring you live coverage and about the trip and also like what happens when you're actually there. Because a lot of people, they just have a camera pointed at the rocket, right? But you want to know the actual experience. So please join the channel, become a member, help us out. Let's get down there for March 1st. Without you, I can't do it. So it's up to you to get me down there, and I'll vlog for you. I'll do a day-by-day thing. We'll do a bunch of shorts, bunch of content for it, and then we'll be there for the launch itself. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and also liking. You know what? Subscribing and liking also shows YouTube that the algorithm likes you, and you like the algorithm, and you also like spaceflight. So they're going to push more spaceflight to you. So like and subscribe. That'll help out. All right, that's it today, guys. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in the next one.